I really like Terence Crawford, right, because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive, he's due a massive performance, and I think Canelo is made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore.
I know his spirit.
Yeah?
He got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out, and then they just...
Terence Crawford wrapped up.
Terence Crawford just wrapped up his final day of training camp ahead of the massive showdown with Canelo Alvarez. He was joined by Turki Alalshik, who showed strong support throughout the camp. Crawford thanked him for being part of the journey, but reminded everyone the job isn't done yet. With confidence and focus, he made it clear he expects to leave the ring victorious.
Hey, appreciate you. Everything that you done for me. You and Riyadh City. You must. The job ain't done yet. Yeah. The job ain't done yet. Yeah. It's Saturday. Deliver the job. I appreciate the opportunity. No retirement. Let's get it. Yeah.
In these last crucial days, Crawford's preparation has been relentless. His camp has been filled with high-intensity sparring, sharpening his reflexes, tightening his defense, and keeping his offense crisp and dangerous. His coaches praise his discipline and laser focus, saying he's left no stone unturned. Video footage shows him lean, conditioned, and ready to step into the ring brimming with confidence. Crawford's mindset is crystal clear. He knows the challenge ahead won't be easy, but he believes victory is within reach. Training footage and interviews reveal a fighter who thrives under pressure, someone who respects Canelo's greatness but never doubts his own skills. He tells fans that no matter how tough things get, his strategy, discipline, and self-belief will carry him to success.
How do you see this fight with Canelo going?
I'm definitely going to win the fight, for sure. But, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think he's going to bring the best out of me. I'm going to bring the best out of him, and it's going to be an exciting fight.
Unlike many fighters who overtrain chasing perfection, Crawford has taken a smarter approach. He's open about not pushing his body past its limits. Instead, he maximizes his structured sessions, making sure his body recovers properly. It's a mature strategy that shows he understands balance, preparing at full intensity without risking fatigue or injury before fight night.
Right now, I'm not training hard. I'm not even training, really. I don't want to overtrain because me personally, when I go in the gym, I give my all, and I don't want to burn myself out.
Esther Martinez, Crawford's chief sparring partner, has issued chilling warnings about what Canelo is about to face. Having felt Crawford's punches firsthand, Martinez insists the power is something Canelo won't handle easily. He says people assume Canelo is naturally the bigger man, but in the ring, Crawford feels just as strong, if not stronger. According to Martinez, the intensity behind Crawford's shots proves a beast is waiting for Canelo.
No, está como dicen muchos, está cabrón. Está preparado, está listo, a pesar de venir de una categoría muy abajo, subir a la 168, pues yo tengo los sparring con él. Tanto lo he ayudado como he sentido que él me ha ayudado también a mí. Entonces, anteriormente estaba enfocado en ayudarlo, pero luego que me dijeron que yo iba a pelear, ¿sabes qué? Necesito ayudarte, pero que me ayudes. Y ya en el ring nos entendemos, yo casi no hablo inglés. Todavía voy practicándolo, pero en el ring nos entendemos muy bien. Y hay una buena vibra, pero él está listo. Y yo también estoy listo.
El tema del peso, ¿cómo crees lo afectará en la noche de la pelea haciendo sparring con él?
¿Cómo?
Haciendo sparring con Terence, la gente habla, pues el Canelo es muy grande, sí. 2 categorías.
Bueno, en realidad en tamaño creo que están iguales, pero en diferencia de peso, sí, a lo mejor Canelo está más acostumbrado a esa categoría que Terence, pero te digo, vengo haciendo sparring con él desde que estaba en las 147 libras, mi primer sparring con él en las 147, yo era ya 168, sigo siendo 168, y lo único que hizo ahora pues es subir de peso, aumentar de peso, y sí se siente muy diferente haber hecho sparring con él en 147 y ahora hacer sparring con él en 168. Pero yo creo que...
¿Cómo se siente diferente?
En el sentido que le he sentido más pegada, más explosivo, la rapidez, el snap lo tiene todavía el cabrón, no lo ha perdido, lo he sentido. Pero creo que la nutrición que lleva, el equipo de trabajo con el que tiene.
Former champion Duke McKenzie believes Crawford is built to dismantle Canelo. He argues that many of Canelo's recent opponents weren't truly elite, and that Crawford is a completely different challenge. With his adaptability, high fight IQ, and ability to make adjustments mid-bout, McKenzie claims Crawford can expose weaknesses that no one else has. In his eyes, Canelo has never faced someone with Crawford's level of precision and timing.
Over the years, when you look, since he's been off the mad cow meat, right? You look at his last 5 fights. He's boxed ordinary fighters, you know. And they're not in the same league. They're really not in the same league. And I think to myself, his last 5 fights, even what's that kid's name? Hamza Shiraz, right? Mm-hmm. So he boxed in his last fight. He knocked out, what's the kid's name?
Belanga.
Right, he knocked out Belanga. Belanga took your man there. He took him the distance. Now, you only got to balance it up. If Belanga can take him the distance, you got to say to yourself, what is Terence Crawford going to do to
Canelo, yeah.
Canelo, sorry, to Canelo. I've got the names mixed up. Yeah, right. So, what's he going to do to? You know what? I look at the fight and I think to myself, I really like Terence Crawford, right, because of his switch hitting style. Now, Terence Crawford is due a massive. He's due a massive performance, and I think Canelo's made for him. Canelo doesn't fight with any urgency anymore. You don't get any head movement from him anymore. He doesn't show you a punch and hit you with another one anymore. There's no variety in his whole sort of makeup. And I look at him and I think to myself, Canelo's become, just in my opinion, I think he's become a little bit pedestrian in as much as goes in straight lines, comes out in straight lines. There's no urgency to his work.
One of the biggest concerns leading into this fight was size. Critics doubted if Crawford could handle moving up against a naturally bigger Canelo. But recent training footage has silenced much of that talk. Crawford looks bigger, stronger, and more explosive than ever, without losing his speed. Analysts are now rethinking their predictions, with some even calling for a potential Crawford knockout. His physical transformation has forced the boxing world to reconsider if Canelo's size advantage even exists.
Don't win fights. And everybody, it seems like, that says muscles don't win fights usually have ridiculous muscle mass. Like Devin Haney was like, muscles don't win. And Devin's like way bigger than everybody else at 135 pounds and jacked to the gills. That's that snack shit. Okay, we're not doing that. But Terence Crawford also on that snack shit. Anyway, Bud Crawford did just drop a body transformation pic. Let's take a look at it. Boom! Son, I'm sorry, I have a flat tire. Does anyone have a jack to help me out? Oh, thank you, Bud Crawford. You're actually huge. The man has abs on his abs on his abs. I'm not trying to glaze, but that doesn't look like a 147-pounder. It doesn't look like a 154-pounder. That looks like a grown man. He's definitely put some weight on, coming to 168 pounds. And I can tell you that now. Take what I'm about to show you with a grain of salt because it is on weigh-in day, but look at what he was at 140 pounds. Now, again, he's out of camp, hasn't made the weight cut yet, but that's him right now. But, I mean, that is crazy. Couple of things. Yes, muscles don't win you fights, and the biggest question we have to ask now is, how will this newfound muscle mass affect Bud Crawford in the fight? Because one of the things I have said continuously about this fight is that the weight issue has been completely overblown by people. And what I mean is, there is not a massive weight disparity between these two fighters. What Canelo walks around at and what Terence Crawford walks around at is probably similar, and maybe Terence Crawford even weighs a little more. I don't know. I saw the picture of the scale of him at 186. It may be a little less when he's normally not trying to gain weight, but that's not the point of the weight difference. The point of saying there is a weight difference is that Canelo Alvarez has consistently fought and been successful at 160 to 168.
Analyst Showbiz the Adult sparked controversy after pointing to Turki Alalshik's involvement in Crawford's camp. In one clip, Turki is heard telling Crawford not to retire after the fight with Canelo. Showbiz speculated this could be a hidden message, suggesting outside deals might influence the outcome. While it's mostly speculation, the idea has stirred debates about whether outside factors could impact a matchup of this magnitude.
On the first part, return the favor. But Turkey, in a second thought, said, no, I'm going to deliver this message. He goes back to Bud and he says, and don't retire after this. Don't retire.
No retirement. Let's get it. Yeah.
That's what Turkey meant when he was trying to say, return the favor.
You must retire. Yeah.
I did this for you. You got this big fight. Yeah, the job ain't done. Deliver the job. But don't retire. Return the favor. That is the most important part, and we're going to break that down. The deliver the job thing, that is more of a language difference, okay? Because Bud is saying, listen, the job ain't done. He said, oh yeah, deliver the job Saturday. Mostly meaning put on a good fight. Fight your heart out. If you win, cool. That'll be best if you win. But I'm just saying it's not about winning. Winning is about trying. Winning is about going for greatness. Marvelous Marvin Hagler wasn't undefeated. Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Muhammad Ali, Sam Langford, Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, some of these Gene Tunney, some of the greatest fighters of all time, Willie Pep, Sammy Sadler. These guys weren't undefeated, right? But that's what made them great, is that they were taking on all challenges. His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh knows that the product isn't the fighter. The product is the sport. So he's trying to put on the best matches, which is why he's saying, don't retire, return the favor, because I got more ideas for you.
Rapper Boosie also weighed in, describing Crawford as a silent killer. He explained that Crawford's calm, quiet demeanor makes him even more dangerous. No trash talk, no hype, just focus. Boosie warns that Canelo should be very cautious because Crawford's composure hides explosive power and precision. By calling him a silent killer, Boosie perfectly captured Crawford's persona, a fighter who doesn't talk big, but lets his fists do the speaking.
Yes. I know his spirit.
Yeah?
Yeah, he got a killer in him. He a silent killer. I've been around niggas like that in the hood. Them niggas lay back until you bring it out of them, then they just, you know, I've been like that with them niggas. Like, I didn't watch Crawford. I didn't hung out with this nigga. This is my boy. Like, this nigga got a killer in him. You know, Canelo better be fucking ready. Like, this nigga got a killer in him, bro.
Boxing expert Russ Anber highlighted just how historic Crawford's move is, jumping up multiple weight classes to face one of boxing's most dominant champions. He noted that very few fighters in history have dared to take such a leap, and even fewer have pulled it off. For Anber, this fight shows Crawford's ambition and fearlessness. Win or lose, he believes this bold step will set Crawford apart.
I can't think of anybody, especially someone who hasn't even competed in that division. So, yeah, I can't think of anybody. And to think that Crawford, you know, started out at 135. I mean, the last guy I can think of doing that would have been Duran, but I think Duran went up and won the title at middleweight, you know, and he didn't do it all in one fell swoop. It was one weight category after another. You know, Leonard at 35, Davey Moore at 54, then Iran Barkley at 60. I mean, it just kept moving up, but I don't know of anybody that's gone from 35 up to 168 and basically leapfrog the division. So from champion at 147, one fight at 154, and then leapfrogs over an entire section of top 10 contenders at 168 pounds, never having fought at 168. Oh, leapfrogs 160, over into the contenders at 168, right into a title shot. I can't think of anybody that's done that. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. Tommy, over the last couple of years, I think Canelo's come to rely on his power. Do you think that'll be enough against Crawford's ring IQ and his combinations and footwork?
You know, I can't think of any fighter where punching power alone is enough. So, you know, Canelo has come around with two things, punching power and defense. He's still very, very difficult to hit, which allows him to load up on shots and get into the range that he wants to get into, where he can fire away with hard punching power, not setting them up as much as he used to in the past, not having that, you know, that same work rate that he used to have. But if he's just thinking of going out there looking for that one shot.
Another narrative surrounding this matchup has been the size comparison between the two fighters. While Canelo has long been considered the naturally bigger man, footage of Crawford shows that he now matches or even surpasses Canelo in physical size. observers recall how Crawford already looked big when he moved up for the Madrimah fight, appearing strong and well adjusted on fight night. Now at 168, he seems to have filled out his frame even more impressively. The sight of a bulked-up yet sharp Crawford has surprised analysts who previously believed Canelo's physical presence would dominate. Instead, the comparison now suggests that Crawford has closed the gap, if not tilted the scale in his favor.
On weight limit, but when Crawford actually got into the ring on fight night, he was actually the heavier of the two men, clocking in at 169.8 pounds. We'll call it 170 just for the ease of the video, but 170 pounds at 154. That's a very, very solid rehydration. That is a very good weight for a 154-pound fighter. And our man Canelo Alvarez gives us evidence and testament to this. I've gone back through the years to have a look at what Canelo weighed in the ring when he fought 154 pounds to give us context as to the size difference. And don't get me wrong, Canelo will be bigger now than he was back then, but Crawford will be too. Crawford will also put that extra size on. And whilst he's not experienced fighting with the extra weight, it will give us some kind of understanding of how much of an issue it might be. We'll take everything into account, but just to begin with, you know, how big is the size difference? Well, going back and looking at some of these fights, we'll start with the Floyd Mayweather fight. So that was at 152-pound catch weight. And I said in my tactical video that Canelo was dehydrated for that one, that he wasn't at his maximum capability. Now, I still stand by that assessment because he was so green in his career and because I feel his best performances have come at higher weight classes, and especially where he's not been having to cut lots of weight. But just for context in that one, he was 165 pounds in the ring versus Floyd that night. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather weighed 150.5 pounds, so there was actually a 14.5-pound weight difference that night. So you start to understand where I'm going with this in this video. I want to look at the context of where there's been weight gaps before. So someone who was 14.5 pounds lighter than Canelo was able to beat him on that night. Now look, Mayweather is an all-time great. Mayweather was unbelievably skilled and had soldiers tied up in knots. He couldn't do anything with him. But let's look at some other fights for some more context. When he fought Austin Trout, they were around about the same when they got in the ring. When they fought at 154 pounds, Canelo was 172 and Trout was 171. And that's really interesting to look at because that tells us that Canelo was only a couple of pounds heavier than Crawford when rehydrated when he fought at 154 pounds.
Trainer Brian Bomac McIntyre has been adamant that his fighter is already a bigger man than most give him credit for. In his words, the jump to 168 pounds is not as drastic as critics make it out to be. Bomac argues that Canelo's size has been overstated and that Crawford has the natural build and strength to compete on equal footing at super middleweight. His confidence in Crawford's adaptability underscores the belief within the camp that Terence is not stepping into unfamiliar territory, but rather claiming a weight where he can thrive.
Bomac also added that when Crawford said that he's gonna fight Canelo at 168, that he was completely fine with it because Crawford is already a natural big guy to begin with, and that once again, contrary to popular belief, Canelo is not the bigger guy. Basically, if anything, it's easier for Crawford because he's no longer gonna have to drain himself.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next.